Selina hit the floor so hard the breath flew out of her chest. Her elbow scraped the tiles, her left knee buckled, and she barely managed to throw her hands out before her stomach slammed into the ground. Her baby kicked violently, responding to the shock. Maurice stood over her, chest heaving, eyes blazing with the kind of rage that made her skin crawl. "Get out of my house," he hissed. "I mean it, Selina. Get out." Selina pushed herself onto her palms, trembling. "Maurice, stop, please. You'll hurt the baby." "That baby isn't mine," he shouted. His voice cracked through the hallway like lightning. Selina felt the words cut deeper than the fall. She opened her mouth to speak, but Maurice reached down, grabbed her by the arm, and dragged her toward the door. "Stop. Maurice, you're hurting me," she cried out, clutching her stomach with her free hand. "You hurt me first," he spat. "You and your cheap lies. You think I don't know you've been sneaking around? Pregnant? Please. I'm not stupid. I never cheated on you." Selina sobbed. "Maurice, I swear on my life. Save it." He shoved open the front door and flung her outside. She tripped down the steps, landing painfully on her side. Rain poured instantly over her, cold and harsh, soaking her clothes, her hair, her fear. Maurice threw her small suitcase at her. It hit the ground, burst open, and her clothes scattered into the rainwater pooled on the walkway. "Take your trash with you," he sneered. Selina wiped her face, unsure if it was rain or tears. "Where am I supposed to go? It's almost midnight. I'm 8 months pregnant. That's not my problem." He grabbed the gate and slammed it shut hard enough that she jumped. "And don't even try coming back. I'm done with you." The gate locked. The lights in the house went off one by one. Selina crouched in the rain, hugging her stomach, shaking uncontrollably. "Please, please don't do this," she whispered into the darkness. But no one inside heard her. She slowly picked up her wet clothes, stuffing them back into the broken suitcase. A sharp pain tugged at her lower abdomen. Not a normal kick, deeper, heavier. "No, not now. Please, not now." She sucked in a breath and held onto the low fence just to stand upright. As she staggered toward the street, thunder cracked above her. A car splashed water as it passed without slowing. Another car sped by. No one stopped. Selina braced one hand against a street lamp, her body trembling violently. A deep voice suddenly cut through the storm. "Are you all right?" She looked up sharply. A black SUV had slowed beside her. Its tinted window rolled down, revealing a man, sharp-jawed, composed, impossibly calm even in the downpour. He opened his door and stepped into the rain. "Hey," he said gently, approaching her slowly like she was a frightened animal. "You're hurt." Selina backed away. "Please. I don't want any trouble." "You're wounded and soaking. Your lips are turning blue," the man replied. "What happened?" "Nothing. I'm fine." Her voice cracked pathetically. "You're not." His tone softened even further. "Let me help you." Selina shook her head, swallowing hard. "I can't go with you." "I'm not asking you to trust me," he said, raising both hands slightly in reassurance. "But you need shelter and medical attention. And you're pregnant." His eyes lowered to her stomach. "Very pregnant." She curled her arm protectively over her belly. Another cramp hit, sharp and sudden. Selina gasped, bending forward. The man rushed forward and caught her before she crumpled. "Easy," he murmured. "I've got you." Selina sagged against him, unable to fight anymore. "It hurts. I think something's wrong." "I'm taking you somewhere safe," he said firmly. He didn't ask for permission. He simply lifted her, carefully but decisively, and carried her toward the SUV. Selina was too weak and too cold to resist. Inside the warm SUV, she trembled against the leather seat. The man draped a blanket over her legs. The sudden warmth made her eyes sting. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Selina," she whispered. "I'm Adrian," he replied. "Adrian Cole." The name sounded familiar, incredibly familiar, but her mind was too foggy to connect anything. The SUV pulled away from the street. Selina tried to sit up straighter. "My husband. He'll be angry if he sees me with another man." Adrian's jaw tightened slightly. Your husband threw you out in the rain. He has no right to be angry. He's not always like this, she murmured weakly. Then how is he? Adrian asked quietly. Selina closed her eyes. She didn't answer. Outside, rain pounded the windshield relentlessly. Inside, the atmosphere grew thick, not with fear, but with something Selina couldn't explain. Adrian kept glancing at her, his face unreadable but intense. Selina winced again. The pain was worse. Are you having contractions? Adrian asked immediately. I don't know, maybe. I'm scared. Her voice broke. My baby? We'll get you help, he assured her. Just breathe. I'm taking you to my place. It's closer than any hospital. No, she protested weakly. I can't go to a stranger's house. You're not safe anywhere else right now, he said calmly. Trust me just until the storm passes. The conviction in his voice, steady, unshakable, brought tears to her eyes. After a few minutes, the SUV entered a long driveway lit by soft golden lights. Selina's breath hitched. A mansion towered ahead, grand, modern, guarded by tall iron gates that opened automatically. I shouldn't be here, she murmured. You should, Adrian replied. You're in danger, Selina. And you're exhausted. He stepped out and opened her door, shielding her from the rain as he helped her up the steps. Inside, a warm glow greeted them, soft lights, quiet halls, safety. A maid hurried forward. Mr. Adrian. Who is, oh my goodness. She needs a warm room, dry clothes, and something hot to drink, Adrian ordered gently. And call Dr. Hale. Yes, sir. Selina clutched the blanket around her shoulders as she followed Adrian deeper into the mansion. She felt small, out of place, and terrified of the unknown. In the guest room, Adrian helped her sit, then crouched in front of her so their eyes met. You're safe here, he said softly. Something about the way he said it made her chest tighten. Thank you, Selina whispered. He nodded and stood. I'll bring the doctor. Rest. As the door closed behind him, Selina exhaled shakily. Her life had collapsed in a single night. But sitting here in a stranger's mansion, wrapped in warmth, waiting for a doctor, she felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. If you're enjoying this story so far, make sure to like this video and subscribe so you never miss the next chapter. Selina didn't know it yet, but Adrian Cole wasn't just a stranger. He was the man whose life would become tangled with hers, in ways she couldn't imagine. And the baby she carried was the secret that would bind them forever. Adrian returned with a tall woman in a simple blazer and jeans, a stethoscope already around her neck. Her steps were brisk, efficient, but her eyes were warm. Selina, this is Dr. Hale, Adrian said. She's my family physician. She'll check on you. Dr. Hale gave Selina a reassuring smile. Hi, Selina. I heard you had a rough night. That's one way to put it, Selina murmured. Lie back for me, all right? Dr. Hale gently adjusted the pillows and lifted Selina's top just enough to place the monitor on her belly. We're going to listen to baby first. Selina's heart thudded wildly as gel touched her skin. Is something wrong? She whispered. Let's find out, Dr. Hale said calmly. The room went quiet. For a moment, Selina's own heartbeat filled her ears. Then, a quick, rhythmic thumping echoed from the small machine. Selina's eyes instantly filled with tears. That's your baby's heartbeat, Dr. Hale nodded. Strong and steady. Selina covered her mouth, a broken sob escaping. Adrian exhaled too, tension loosening from his shoulders as if he'd been physically holding his breath. Thank God, Selina whispered. Any pain right now? Dr. Hale asked. It comes and goes, Selina replied. Like squeezing. But not constant. Likely stress-induced Braxton Hicks, Dr. Hale said. Your body's reacting to emotional strain and physical shock. Selina looked down. It was my fault. I shouldn't have argued with him. No, Dr. Hale cut in, voice firm. Stress doesn't appear from nowhere. Something caused it. Selina's throat tightened. Adrian stepped closer. Tell her what happened, he said gently. Selina stared at her hands. He pushed me, shoved me, dragged me. He said the baby isn't his. He threw me out. Dr. Hale's expression hardened. How long has this been going on? Selina swallowed. The shouting? Since we got married. The pushing? The last few months. The accusations? Since I told him I was pregnant. Dr. Hale wrote a note in her small pad. You're not safe with him. He's my husband, Selina replied weakly. And this, Dr. Hale gestured at her bruised elbow and scraped knee, is abuse. Selina's eyes burned. She'd known that. But hearing someone else say it out loud made the reality sink in deeper. Will the baby be okay? Selina asked, voice trembling. If you rest, eat, hydrate, and stay away from stress, there's a very good chance, Dr. Hale said. But if you go back into the same environment. Selina looked away, her voice barely a whisper. He'll kill us. Adrian's jaw clenched. Dr. Hale got up. I'll send over some vitamins, mild pain relief, and something to help you sleep. No sedatives, just herbal. You need calm. She turned to Adrian. She shouldn't be alone. She won't be, he said immediately. Dr. Hale gave a small nod. Call me if the pains become regular or if she bleeds. Otherwise, she rests. When she left, the room felt strangely quiet. Selina stared at the pattern on the bedsheet, her mind swirling. You should try to sleep, Adrian said gently. She laughed weakly. Sleep? After tonight. Then talk, he replied. Sometimes it helps. Selina hesitated. You don't need to hear my problems. Maybe I want to, he said. Maybe I don't like watching someone shiver in pain and pretend they're fine. Her eyes lifted to his. He pulled the chair closer and Saturday, how long have you been with him? For years, she said. Married for 3. Pregnant for 8 months. Miserable for. I lost count. What about before him? Adrian asked. Selina smiled sadly. I was ordinary. I had a small job at a call center. My dad had a little electronics shop. We weren't rich, but we were happy. Then Maurice started coming to my dad's shop to fix his phones. He was charming then. Always laughing. Always offering to help. People like that usually start sweet, Adrian said quietly. He said he loved me, Selina went on. Said he'd give me the life I deserved. My dad was unsure at first, but Maurice convinced him. Said he'd help expand the shop, invest money, make my dad a bigger businessman. What actually happened? Adrian asked. Selina swallowed hard. Investors came. Deals were made. My dad trusted him. Signed what he asked him to sign. 6 months later, the shop was gone. Debts. Lawsuits. People came to our door demanding money. Adrian's eyes darkened. Maurice used your dad. He swore it was a mistake, she whispered. That he'd fix it. My dad had a heart attack before things got better. We buried him with people still whispering that he was a thief. And Maurice? Adrian asked. He said we had to move on. Tears spilled down her cheeks. He said if I loved him, I'd stop bringing up the past. I tried to believe him. I wanted to believe him. I married him anyway. Adrian leaned back slowly. You lost your father. Your home. Your security. And somehow you still thought you were the problem. Maybe I was, she murmured. You weren't, Adrian said. You aren't. She couldn't look at him. The conviction in his voice made something fragile inside her tremble. What about you? She asked, forcing a shaky breath. You seem used to giving orders, living in a place like this. Who exactly is Adrian Cole? His lips twitched slightly. Just a man who works too much. That doesn't answer anything, she said. I own a few companies, he added. Investments. Real estate. Tech. Nothing exciting. You're a billionaire, aren't you? She blurted before she could stop herself. He didn't deny it. That changes nothing about tonight. It changes everything, she said quickly. I shouldn't be here. I don't belong in places like this. You belong in safety, he countered. That's it. She sighed, overwhelmed. People will think that you were thrown out by your husband, nearly collapsed on the street, and helped by someone who couldn't walk away? Adrian finished. Let them think that. It's the truth. She stared at him, stunned by the simplicity in his voice. Her phone buzzed suddenly on the nightstand. Selina flinched like she'd been slapped. Adrian's gaze dropped to the screen lighting up. Maurice. Don't answer, Adrian said. Selina stared at the name. Her fingers twitched. He'll be furious if I don't, she whispered. He's already furious, Adrian replied. You answering or not doesn't change that. The buzzing stopped. Then started again. Another call. Same name. Selina's breathing quickened. Put it on silent, Adrian suggested. Her thumb hovered, then slid the volume down. The vibration stopped. She exhaled shakily. I've never done that before. What? Adrian asked. I've never ignored him, she said. Everything in me feels like I've just committed a crime. Maybe this is the first time you've chosen yourself, Adrian said softly. Her eyes filled again. A minute later, the phone lit up with a message. Her stomach churned. He's texting. Do you want to read it? Adrian asked. She shook her head, then nodded. I have to. She picked up the phone with trembling fingers and opened the message. You think leaving with another man makes you pure? You are finished, Selina. I will destroy you. You and that bastard child. Watch me. Her hands shook so badly she nearly dropped the phone. Adrian's eyes hardened. What did he say? She handed him the phone silently. He read it. His jaw clenched so tight a vein pulsed in his neck. Bastard child, Adrian repeated slowly, the words tasting like poison. He talks like this to you while you're carrying his baby? Selina looked away. He doesn't believe it's his. Adrian paused. His mood shifted almost imperceptibly. And is he wrong? Selina's heart slammed against her ribs. What? She whispered. Adrian looked at her, really looked at her, eyes searching her face. You said he started accusing you when you told him you were pregnant. Yes, she said slowly. When did you find out? He asked. About 2 months after the gala, she murmured, more to herself than to him. He stilled. What gala? Selina frowned. The charity gala. Last year. At the Skyview Hotel. They were raising money for small businesses. I worked there as part of the catering team for extra income. Adrian's eyes sharpened. His company had sponsored the gala. He had been there. His memory flickered, dim lights, music, dozens of faces. I was there too, he said slowly. She blinked. You were. He nodded. She swallowed. I fainted that night. I remember being dizzy. Overworked. I didn't eat all day. Someone caught me before I hit the floor. I don't remember his face. Silence. A long, heavy silence. Adrian's gaze drifted to the small, delicate bracelet on her wrist. He knew that bracelet. Because he'd bought it. He remembered now. A girl collapsing backstage. His hands catching her. Her shy eyes when she woke up in the private lounge. Her trembling voice as she thanked him over and over. He'd walked her outside himself when she insisted on leaving. They had shared a brief, charged moment in the quiet hallway. An impulsive kiss. A night blurred by emotion and exhaustion. And then she was gone by sunrise. Selina, he said quietly, his voice lower now, waited. Do you remember anything that happened after you fainted? Her throat tightened. Bits and pieces. I remember a room. Soft lights. Someone giving me water. A man's cologne. I remember feeling safe. And then, I remember shame. And leaving before anyone woke up. Adrian's fingers curled around the arm of the chair. He had never forgotten. She had. Inside her, the baby shifted. Selina placed her hand over her belly, panic and confusion swirling. Why are you asking me this? Adrian held her gaze. Because if your timeline is right. He paused, the truth hanging between them like a live wire. There is a chance, he said slowly, that the child you're carrying isn't Morris's. Her pulse roared in her ears. What are you saying? I'm saying, Adrian whispered, that there is a chance this baby might be mine. The room spun. Selina gripped the blanket, eyes wide, heart pounding so hard she thought she might pass out again. And for the first time since the night began, she realized, being thrown out of her house might not have been the end of her story. It might have been the beginning. If you're still listening, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. There's so much more to come in this story. Selina's breath stuttered. She stared at Adrian like he'd just spoken a language she didn't understand. What do you mean, your baby? She whispered. Adrian leaned forward, elbows on his knees, voice low and steady. Selina, think carefully. The night of the gala, the timing, your symptoms afterwards, the way Maurice reacted, it fits. No, Selina shook her head furiously. No, it doesn't. I couldn't. Selina, Adrian said gently, I remember that night. Her entire body went cold. I don't. You fainted. You were exhausted. You said you hadn't eaten. I took you to the private lounge to rest. Her heart hammered harder with each word. I gave you water. You woke up crying. You said you were overwhelmed, afraid to go home. I stayed to make sure you didn't fall again. Adrian inhaled deeply. We talked. For hours. Flashes hit her, soft lighting, a warm hand on her back, a deep voice saying you're safe. Her throat felt tight. And then, you fell asleep against me, Adrian said, eyes softening. When you woke, you kissed me. And he looked down, guilt flickering in his eyes. I kissed you back. Her hands flew to her mouth. Oh God. You said you didn't want to be alone, Adrian continued quietly. We were both emotional. We both crossed a line. Selina's breath shook so violently she almost choked. Adrian, stop. I need you to hear it. No, please, she begged. I can't remember it clearly. It's all blurred. I don't know what's real. I'm telling you what happened, he said softly. Not to control you. But because everything that's happening now could be connected. Selina pressed a hand over her eyes. This is too much. I can't, Adrian, I'm married. And he has treated you worse than a stranger would, Adrian replied quietly. Your marriage is broken, Selina. It's been broken for a long time. Her chin quivered. I didn't cheat on him. No, Adrian said, voice firm. You didn't. You were hurt, emotionally vulnerable, and you didn't even remember most of it. What happened wasn't betrayal. It was two broken people holding on to each other for one night. She shook her head. Maurice won't believe that. He doesn't deserve explanation. He'll say I lied. He'll say I tricked him. He'll say, enough, Adrian said firmly. He's not the victim. But the baby, Selina whispered, gripping her belly. If she's not his, then she's mine, Adrian finished. The truth of it crashed into her like a tidal wave. She looked at Adrian, really looked at him. His eyes were steady, almost too calm for the storm he had just dropped into her lap. And suddenly she remembered something more, something small, almost insignificant at the time. His cologne. The same scent she noticed the night she fainted. The scent she vaguely remembered in that quiet room before she slipped out. Her lips parted, trembling. Why didn't you ever say anything? I didn't know where you went. Adrian's voice grew rough. I woke up and you were gone. No note. No name. You vanished. Selina's eyes burned. I was ashamed. I thought something terrible would happen if I stayed. And now this is happening, he said softly. Tears slid down her cheeks. I don't know what to do. You don't need to do anything right now, Adrian said. We can take a paternity test after the birth. There's no rush. There is a rush, Selina choked out. Maurice hates this baby. He hates me. If he finds out there's even a small chance the baby isn't his, he'll. A knock at the door cut her off. A guard stepped in, tension radiating off him. Mr. Adrian, we have a problem. Adrian stood instantly. What is it? There's movement outside the gate. Selina's heart dropped. It's him. The guard nodded tightly. A man matching the husband's description. He's been walking back and forth for 10 minutes. Checking the fence. Watching the windows. Selina covered her mouth, terror gripping her lungs. Adrian's expression turned to steel. Keep the perimeter locked. Do not confront him. Do not speak to him. Just keep eyes on him. Understood? Yes, sir. The guard left. Selina whispered, he found me. Adrian, he found me. Adrian walked back to her, cupping her shoulders gently. Selina, look at me. She lifted her terrified eyes. You're not going anywhere near him. He can't get in. He can't touch you. He can't hurt you again. She shook her head. You don't know him. When he loses control, he becomes a different person. Adrian brushed her hair gently out of her face. And he's not getting inside. I won't allow it. Selina closed her eyes, shaking harder. I'm so tired. I feel like I'm living in a nightmare. Adrian's voice softened. You've lived in one for years. Tonight is the first time you're safe. She opened her eyes again. Why are you doing this? Why help me? Why care? Why stay? Why risk getting involved with a married woman with a dangerous husband? Adrian inhaled, his expression raw and unguarded. Because, he said quietly, the night of the gala, you looked at me like you trusted me. Like I was someone who could protect you. He paused. And I didn't. Not enough. I let you walk away into a life filled with pain. I won't let that happen again. Selina's breath hitched. I wasn't your responsibility. You were human, Adrian said. That's enough responsibility for me. Before Selina could respond, her phone vibrated again. Adrian's eyes flicked to it. Don't. But she lifted the phone with trembling fingers. New message from Maurice. I know you're with him. Tell him he won't keep you long. Tell him I'm coming for both of you. Selina dropped the phone as if it burned her. Adrian picked it up, jaw tightening. He's escalating. He'll kill me, Selina whispered. I mean it. Adrian, he will. No, Adrian said firmly. He won't. Selina's breath grew shallow, panicked. We need to go to the police. They can't arrest him for texting, Adrian replied. They'll file a report, but he'll be out in hours. So what do I do? Selina cried. What if he climbs the fence? Breaks a window? Waits until you're gone. He won't, Adrian said. Security is everywhere. And I'm not leaving. You can't stay awake all night, she whispered. I can, he replied. Selina stared at him, vulnerable and overwhelmed. I'm scared. I know, he whispered. But you're not alone anymore. Her breath shook. Adrian stood. You need to rest. I'll be right outside your door. If anything happens, you call my name, and I'll be here. Selina nodded slowly. As he moved toward the door, she whispered, Adrian. He turned. Her eyes glistened. Do you really think the baby could be yours? He paused, looking at her belly with a softness she hadn't expected. Yes, he said quietly. I do. Selina felt something deep inside her shift, fear, hope, guilt, relief, all tangled into one unbearable knot. Good night, Selina, Adrian said softly. Good night, she whispered. When the door closed, Selina curled onto her side, clutching her stomach. The baby kicked. Hard. Almost like she could feel everything. Selina whispered into the quiet room, Baby, who are you really? She didn't sleep for hours. Not because she wasn't tired, but because for the first time, she was terrified of the truth. And even more terrified of the possibility that Adrian was right. Outside her window, headlights flickered in the distance. Someone was still watching the mansion. If you're still here listening, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what comes next. This story is only getting deeper. Sunlight crept through the curtains when Selina finally drifted into a shallow, restless sleep. It didn't last long. A soft knock at the door woke her. Selina. Adrian's voice, low and careful. Can I come in? Her eyes felt heavy, but her nerves snapped awake. Yes, she murmured. He stepped inside, still in the same clothes. There were faint shadows under his eyes. You didn't sleep, she said. I rested, he replied. That's not the same thing. He shrugged lightly, then looked at her more seriously. How are you feeling? Tired. Confused. Scared, she answered honestly. The baby's calm this morning, though. That's something, he said. Dr. Hale is on her way back to check on you again. He paused. And security confirmed it was Maurice outside last night. Selina's stomach twisted. What did he do? He walked the perimeter. Tried the back gate, found it locked. Stared at the cameras. Then left after about an hour. He's testing you, she whispered. He wants to see how far he can go. Adrian nodded slowly. I know. He won't stop, she said hollowly. Then we won't either, Adrian replied. I've asked one of my lawyers to come by. I want you to know your rights legally, so he can't just drag you out of here. Lawyers, she repeated, dazed. Adrian, I'm not trying to cause a scandal. You're trying to survive, he said. That's not a scandal. Her gaze drifted to her phone on the nightstand. The screen was dark, but she still felt its pull like a threat. "Any more messages?" Adrian asked. "I turned it off," she admitted. For the first time that morning, a faint smile touched his mouth. "Good." A knock sounded again. This time, it was Dr. Hale. "Morning, everyone," she said as she entered. "Ready for another round of poking and prodding?" "As long as it means the baby stays safe," Selina said softly. "Good answer," Dr. Hale smiled. She did her checks, listening to the baby's heartbeat again. The sound filled the room with a strange, fragile comfort. "Still strong," Dr. Hale said, nodding. "That's a good sign. But your blood pressure is high. Stress is still your biggest enemy." "That's kind of my life theme," Selina muttered. Dr. Hale glanced at Adrian. "You said the husband was outside?" "Last night," he confirmed. "He hasn't tried again this morning." "Yet?" Dr. Hale sighed. "Do you have any legal protection?" "Restraining order." Selina shook her head. "I've never reported him. I kept thinking things would get better." "They won't," Dr. Hale said firmly. "Men like that rarely change without consequences." Selina looked down, voice small. "What if I make everything worse by fighting back? Worse than being thrown out in the rain, 8 months pregnant?" Dr. Hale asked. Selina didn't answer. Dr. Hale softened her tone. "I know you're scared. But your body is carrying more than a baby right now. It's carrying every fear, every memory, every time you stayed quiet. That weight shows up in your blood pressure, in your sleep, in your heart." Tears pricked Selina's eyes. "You can't control what your husband does," Dr. Hale continued. "But you can choose what happens next for you and your child." Selina swallowed. What do you think I should do?" "Stay here. Let Adrian and his lawyers help you. Focus on the baby," Dr. Hale said. "And consider this. If something happens to you, who protects your child from him?" The question landed like a stone. Selina's arms instinctively wrapped around her belly. Dr. Hale finished her checks and turned to Adrian. "I'd like her to get a full scan at the hospital later today, just to be safe. But it needs to be controlled. No surprises." "We'll arrange private access," Adrian said. Dr. Hale reached for her bag. "Text me when you're ready to go." "And Selina?" She waited until the younger woman met her gaze. "You've survived a lot already. Don't underestimate yourself." Selina nodded weakly. When the doctor left, the room felt quieter but heavier. "Hospital?" Selina asked. "I'd rather be extra careful than sorry," Adrian replied. "What if he shows up there?" she whispered. "Then he meets security," Adrian said. "And if he causes a scene, that only helps our case later." "Case?" Selina repeated. "I meant if we need legal proof of harassment, threats, emotional abuse," Adrian clarified. She took a shaky breath. "I'm not used to people fighting for me." "Get used to it," he said softly. She studied his face. "Why are you so sure you want this responsibility? You don't even know for certain if she's you." His gaze dropped briefly to her stomach, then back up. "I know enough." "Enough what?" she pressed. "Enough to care," he replied. Her eyes burned. "Caring ruins people. That's what Maurice taught me." "Then let me teach you something different," Adrian said. Later that afternoon, they prepared to leave for the hospital. Selina changed into a loose dress Dr. Hale had sent over. Adrian waited just outside her room, speaking quietly with a man in a navy suit. "This is Ethan," Adrian said when she stepped out. "One of my lawyers." "Good afternoon, ma'am," Ethan said with a respectful nod. "I'll keep this brief. You are under no obligation to return to your husband's home, especially if there is abuse. If he shows up at the hospital, you have every right to refuse contact. We can also file a formal report based on his messages and actions." Selina's hands twisted together. "Will that make him angrier?" "Probably," Ethan said honestly. "But it also builds a legal trail. If he escalates, we'll have evidence ready." "That scares me," she admitted. "Doing nothing keeps you trapped," Ethan said gently. "Doing something might be scary, but it opens a door." Adrian added quietly, "We'll be with you the whole time." Selina nodded, though anxiety still churned in her chest. "Okay." They left the mansion with security flanking the SUV. Selina sat in the back with Adrian, every bump in the road making her body tense. "What if someone recognizes you?" she asked. "You're you." Adrian Cole, he said dryly. People already recognize me. It doesn't matter. It does if the press gets wind that you're involved with some pregnant woman whose husband is causing drama, she said. He turned to her. You're not some pregnant woman, Selina. Her heart stuttered at the way he said her name. The hospital's private entrance was quiet. Security led them inside quickly. A nurse escorted Selina to the scanning room while Adrian waited outside, pacing slowly. Half an hour later, Selina came out, holding her belly, eyes glossy but calmer. How is she? Adrian asked. The technician said she looks good, Selina said. Still head down. Still strong. Just waiting. For what? He asked softly. For me to get my life together, I guess, she replied. He almost smiled. They headed back toward the private exit. That's when Selina froze. Maurice stood at the end of the corridor. He looked rough, unshaven, eyes bloodshot, clothes wrinkled. But the anger in his eyes was sharp and clear the moment they landed on her. There you are, he said, voice low but vibrating with fury. Selina's grip tightened on Adrian's arm. Security moved in front of them instantly. This area is restricted, sir, one guard said. Maurice ignored him, eyes locked on Selina. So this is what you've become? Running around hospitals with a billionaire like some gold digging. Enough, Adrian cut in, his voice calm but cold. Morris's gaze snapped to him. You think money gives you the right to take my wife? Adrian stepped slightly in front of Selina. She isn't a possession. And you lost the right to call yourself her husband when you threw her out in the rain. I was teaching her a lesson, Maurice spat. Marriage has rules. Abuse isn't a rule, Adrian shot back. Maurice took a step forward. Security blocked him. You think you're better than me because you have money? Maurice sneered. You're no different. You saw a vulnerable woman and took advantage of her. Selina flinched. Adrian's jaw tightened. The only person who took advantage of her was you. Morris's eyes flashed. You don't know our marriage. You don't know what she's done. She's survived you, Adrian said. That's enough. Maurice tried to push past the guards. Selina, come here. Right now. Her entire body shook. Old habits screamed at her to obey. Her feet almost moved. Adrian felt the slight shift and tightened his hold on her arm, grounding her. You don't have to go, he said quietly. Her eyes filled. If I don't, he'll what? Adrian challenged. Yell? Threaten? He's already doing that. And every word out of his mouth is more proof of who he really is. Selina. Maurice shouted louder. You belong with your husband. Not in another man's house. Not carrying another man's bastard. The words cut through the corridor like a knife. Everyone heard it, the nurses, the guards, even a doctor passing by. Selina broke. Tears spilled over as she shook her head. I never cheated on you. Liar. Maurice snarled. That child isn't mine. I know it. I feel it. You don't deserve to know anything about this child, Adrian said. Maurice glared at him. You think it's yours, don't you? Is that why you're playing hero? Adrian's eyes hardened, but his voice stayed calm. Right now, the only thing that matters is her safety. You're a threat to that. You can't steal my wife. Maurice roared. She's not something you own, Adrian replied. And she's not going back with you. Selina squeezed her eyes shut, sobbing silently. A hospital administrator hurried over, looking alarmed. What's going on here? Ethan, who had been standing slightly behind, stepped forward. There's a history of domestic abuse and threats from this man toward my client. We're prepared to file a formal complaint today. Maurice scoffed. Client? Of course. Turn her against me. Parade her in front of lawyers. The administrator glanced between them. Sir, if you continue to create a disturbance, we'll have to ask you to leave. You're all against me, Maurice shouted. You don't know what she's like. She twists things. Stop, Selina's voice cracked, surprising them all. She stepped out from behind Adrian, though her legs trembled. Maurice stared at her. Selina wiped her tears with a shaking hand. You threw me out. You called our baby a bastard. You threatened to destroy me. And you're still blaming me. His eyes narrowed. If you hadn't. Stop, she repeated. Just stop, Maurice. I'm done apologizing for your behavior. His face twisted. You're my wife. I was, she whispered. Not anymore. He froze. I'm choosing my baby, she said, her voice growing stronger even as it wobbled. I'm choosing safety. I'm choosing to live. You can shout, threaten, insult, deny, but I'm not coming back. Maurice stared at her like he didn't recognize her. You'll regret this. No, she said quietly. I regret staying this long. Security stepped closer. The administrator nodded. Sir, you need to leave now. Maurice looked like he wanted to lunge again, but the presence of so many eyes, so many witnesses, held him back. This isn't over, he hissed, backing away. You hear me, Selina? This isn't over. He turned and stormed down the corridor. Selina's knees buckled once he disappeared around the corner. Adrian caught her, holding her upright. I've got you. She sobbed into his chest. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize, he murmured. You did something incredibly brave. I feel like I'm going to collapse, she whispered. Then lean on me, he said. That's what I'm here for. Her hands clung to his shirt as if it was the only thing keeping her from drowning. And somewhere inside her, something shifted again. For the first time, she had chosen herself in front of Maurice. And there was no going back. The ride back from the hospital was quiet. Selina leaned her head against the window, eyes swollen from crying, fingers pressed to her belly. Every time she replayed what she'd said to Maurice, I was, not anymore, her chest tightened with both fear and a strange, fragile pride. Adrian kept glancing at her. Pain, he asked. Only in my chest, she murmured. My heart feels like it ran a marathon. It kind of did, he said softly. When they reached the mansion, Ethan stayed behind for a moment as Selina went inside with one of the staff. We should file that report today, Ethan told Adrian. The public confrontation at the hospital works in our favor. Witnesses. Security footage. His words. Adrian nodded. Do it. I want everything on record. Threats, harassment, the messages. And if he shows up again? Ethan asked. Adrian's eyes hardened. Then we escalate. Inside, Selina sank onto the edge of the bed. The housekeeper brought her tea, but her hands shook too much to hold it. Adrian entered a few minutes later. Ethan is filing a complaint, he said. The hospital security is handing over footage too. Will that stop him? She whispered. It'll make it harder for him to pretend he's innocent, Adrian said. And easier to keep him away from you. She nodded, though the fear didn't magically disappear. Did I do the right thing? She asked quietly. You did the brave thing, Adrian replied. Those two are usually the same. I feel like a terrible wife, she said. You were a good wife to a terrible husband, he corrected. Her eyes filled again. Thank you for standing there with me. You did the talking, Adrian said. I was just backup. And if you weren't there? She asked. He held her gaze. You still would have stood up. You just don't realize how strong you are yet. The days that followed were a blur of small steps. Ethan returned with copies of documents and updates from the police. Dr. Hale came often, checking Selina's blood pressure and the baby's heartbeat, reminding her to breathe and rest and eat. Security became stricter. No one entered the property without clearance. Maurice sent fewer direct messages, but more indirect ones, anonymous numbers, veiled threats, rumors on social media. Ethan documented each one. Adrian had tech staff trace and log everything they could. One afternoon, Selina sat on the terrace with a blanket over her legs, feeling the baby's kicks more frequently. They're stronger, she told Dr. Hale. Like she's trying to get my attention. She probably is, Dr. Hale smiled. You're almost there. Just a few more weeks. Sometimes I'm excited, Selina admitted. Sometimes I'm terrified that I'll mess her up. You're already doing more to protect her than most mothers ever have to, Dr. Hale replied. That counts for a lot. When Dr. Hale left, Adrian joined Selina outside. You're quiet, he said, pulling up a chair beside her. I've been thinking, she said. Dangerous habit, he replied lightly. She smiled faintly. About her. About, after. After what? He asked. After she's born, Selina said. Where we go. What we do. Who's actually there for her? Adrian looked at her. You won't be alone. You say that like it's simple, she murmured. It is, he said. At least on my side. What if the test shows she's not yours? She asked suddenly. He didn't flinch. Then she still won't be alone. She frowned. You'd still. Yes, Adrian said simply. Her throat tightened. You don't owe me that kind of loyalty. I don't owe you anything, he said. I choose it. The word choose sank deep. Nobody has ever chosen me like that, she whispered. They should have, Adrian replied. You deserved it long before you met me. Long before Maurice. Selina looked down at her stomach. She deserves it too. She'll have it, Adrian said. From me. From you. She turned to him. You already talk like a father. He looked at her belly again, his expression softer than she'd ever seen it. Maybe I feel like one. Their eyes held for a long moment, charged and quiet. Selina felt warmth spread through her chest, mixing with fear. She tore her gaze away first, swallowing hard. Dr. Hale said I should pack a hospital bag soon, she said. Just in case. We'll buy whatever you need, Adrian said. No stress. I don't even know what I need, she admitted. I thought I'd figure it out with my husband. I thought he'd be there for the birth. Adrian's jaw tightened. He lost the right to be there. Do you want to be there? She asked softly, surprising herself. Adrian hesitated, the question catching him off guard. If you want me there, I will. If you'd rather I stay outside, I'll wait at the door. She studied his face. I don't want to do it alone. He nodded. Then I'll be there. Weeks turned into days, and days turned into hours that dragged and blurred. One night, Selina woke suddenly with a sharp, gripping pain across her abdomen. It didn't pass quickly this time. It rolled through her, deep and undeniable. She gasped. No. Another came. Stronger. Adrian, she cried out. The door opened almost immediately. Selina. Her face was pale, eyes wide. It hurts. Really bad. It's different this time. He checked the time instinctively, then his phone. I'm calling Dr. Hale. Can you stand? I think so, she said, gripping the bed frame. Another contraction hit, and she doubled over, groaning. Adrian was beside her in a second, holding her up. Breathe with me. In, out. It's not working, she panted. It really hurts. I know, he said, voice tight. We're going to the hospital. Now. The next 30 minutes were chaos. Security rushed to the SUV with them. Dr. Hale met them at the private entrance of the hospital, already in scrubs. She's in active labor, Dr. Hale said after a quick exam. We're moving her to delivery. Adrian, are you staying? Selina's hand shot out, grabbing his wrist. Don't leave. I'm not going anywhere, he said. They rolled her into the delivery room. Machines beeped. Nurses moved around, efficient but kind. Selina, look at me, Dr. Hale said. You've got this. Every contraction is one step closer to seeing your baby. Selina gritted her teeth, squeezing Adrian's hand so hard his knuckles turned white. Sorry, she gasped. Don't be, he said. You can break my hand if it helps. Pain crashed over her in waves. Time lost meaning. There was only breathing, pushing, Dr. Hale's calm instructions, and Adrian's voice in her ear. You're doing so well, he murmured. She's almost here. You're the strongest person I know. Just a little more. I can't, Selina cried out. Yes, you can, Adrian said firmly. Look at everything you've already survived. This? This is your victory lap. Something in his words lit a stubborn spark inside her. She dug deep. One final push, one final scream. And suddenly, the room was filled with a new sound. A piercing, beautiful cry. Selina sagged back, tears spilling instantly. Is she okay? Is she? Dr. Hale lifted the tiny, wriggling, crying bundle. She's perfect. They cleaned and wrapped the baby, then placed her against Selina's chest. The world narrowed to that moment. Tiny fingers. Tiny cries. Warm skin. Selina sobbed openly, her hand trembling as she touched her daughter's cheek. Hi, she whispered, voice breaking. Hi, baby. I'm your mom. Adrian stood frozen, something raw and bright in his eyes. He hadn't realized he was crying until a tear rolled down his cheek. Do you want to hold her? Selina asked, looking up at him. Only if you're okay with it, he said, voice hoarse. She nodded. You should meet her properly. He sat down carefully as a nurse helped transfer the baby into his arms. The moment she settled there, she stopped crying. Adrian stared at the small face, the barely open eyes, the tiny fist gripping his shirt. Hey there, he whispered. You took your time. Selina watched them, an ache and warmth flooding her heart all at once. What do you think? She asked softly. She's unreal, he murmured. She looks like you. Selina smiled through her tears. I think she has your eyes. They sat like that for a long time, speaking in low voices, passing the baby back and forth, breathing in the miracle of her existence. Later, when Selina was resting and the baby lay in a bassinet beside the bed, Ethan arrived with a small envelope. The sample you requested, he said quietly to Adrian. The hospital lab fast-tracked it. Selina's heart thumped. The test? Only if you're ready, Adrian said gently, holding the envelope. She stared at it. Fear clawed up her throat. What if it destroys everything? She whispered. It won't change who she already is, Adrian replied. It just answers a question we've been afraid to ask. She took a long, shaky breath. Open it. He did. His eyes scanned the paper. Then he closed them for a moment, taking it in. Selina felt like she couldn't breathe. Adrian. He looked up, eyes bright and wet. It says, 99.9% probability, he said softly. She's mine. Selina pressed her hands over her mouth as tears flooded her vision. Oh my God. Adrian exhaled a laugh that sounded like relief and wonder tangled together. She's mine, he repeated, voice breaking. She's ours. Selina started crying harder, this time from something that felt like release. Say it again, she whispered. She's our daughter, he said, coming closer. No matter what Maurice thinks, no matter what anyone says, she is ours. A sob escaped her as she reached for his hand. He squeezed it. What does this mean now? She asked through tears. For us? For her. It means, Adrian said gently, that legally, we can establish paternity. It means Maurice has even less claim than he pretended to have. It means Ethan can argue for full protection, restraining orders, whatever we need. And for you, she asked quietly. What does it mean for you? He looked at the baby, then at Selina. It means I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. With both of you. She let out a trembling breath. Adrian, thank you. For everything. For staying. For believing me. For choosing us. I'd choose you again, he said softly. Every time. She smiled weakly. Even with all the chaos? Especially with it, he replied. Days later, they stood together near the large window of the recovery room, watching the city lights at night. The baby slept in a bassinet nearby. Selina leaned against the glass, feeling tired but lighter than she'd felt in years. Ethan called, Adrian said, joining her. Maurice has been served with a protection order. The complaint is officially moving forward. There's talk of fraud investigations reopening too. So he'll finally face consequences, she said quietly. Yes, Adrian replied. But this time, you won't be anywhere near the fallout. She nodded. After a moment, she turned to him. I used to think being thrown out was the worst thing that could happen to me. It felt like it, he said. But if Maurice hadn't done that, I wouldn't have ended up on that street at that time. Your car wouldn't have stopped. I wouldn't have known the truth about her. About you. About myself. You're saying you're grateful, he asked softly. She let out a breathy laugh. No, I'm not grateful to him. I'm grateful that something good came out of what he did. Adrian nodded slowly. That I can accept. She looked at him thoughtfully. Do you think we'll be okay? He reached for her hand, interlacing their fingers. We've walked through hell and made it this far. I think we're more than okay. Selina's gaze drifted to the sleeping baby. She deserves quiet. Peace. Love. No shouting. No doors slamming. She'll have all of that, Adrian said. And she'll grow up knowing that her mother was brave enough to walk away from what was killing her. And that her father, Selina added, squeezing his hand, chose her before he even knew for sure she was his. He smiled, eyes warm. That too. Selina leaned her head against his shoulder, her voice soft but sure. Her husband threw her out, she murmured, almost like she was narrating someone else's story. But she was carrying the billionaire's child. And that changed everything, Adrian finished. She smiled, eyes closing. For the first time in a very long time, Selina wasn't afraid of what tomorrow held. She was ready to meet it, with her daughter in her arms and Adrian by her side. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment sharing your favorite moment. Your support helps us bring you more powerful stories like this one.